doesn't believe in the one-size-fits-all approach, and neither should you. Tufco listens to your needs and requirements and develops custom solutions for every client. For more information, visit their website at tufcoflooring.com. And while we are under caution, we will have a moment to speak to our Fox Sports app in-race reporter. He is the driver of the 03 McConey Setup Shop Chevrolet Camaro late model. It is none other than Jeff McConey joins us here. Jeff, you're now sitting in second. Was this the right strategy call for you this early, or was there a miscommunication on pit road?
No, this is completely on purpose. We did a lot of practice. We did our research. So I know this was absolutely intentional. I'm very excited for it, and I think it's going to be good. I'm happy with this call. I was the one that said we should go with this call, and they all agreed.
Well, how is your thoughts about the racing so far here in these early stages with how we're seeing 3, 4, even 5 wide action?
I'm glad I'm not a part of it. I'm glad I sort of was sticking behind there. My spotter was doing a great job keeping me calm, letting me know what was going on. So this McConey Setup Shop, Podium Esports, Martin Sports, iRacing, iFlag, Overton Speed Shop car feels great. It looks great, and I think we got a really good shot here. I'm happy with this call to stay out.
Well, good luck to you in the next few laps here and see if we can get a good finish. That is our Fox Sports app in-race reporter, Jeff McConey. And of course, the new Fox Sports app has changed the game. From the top moments, breaking news, original content, and live sports, you can find it all in one app. Follow your favorite sports teams or sports with the mobile alerts right on your device. Download the all-new app in the App Store or on Google Play. The Fox Sports app. Get it, use it, love it. Field now working their way down through 3 and 4. Barney, the flag man, will be ready to go with the green flag. Barry, the pit driver or the pace car driver, will turn them loose here once again as he makes the hard left turn down pit road. And we will see the big green flag out once again as we are underway once again here at Michigan. A little bit of a rough start there for the 41 of Matt Stallneck, but here goes William Hale and Jeff McConey as they head down into 1.
So the top 2 already clear of the field. McConey following William Hale from the bottom side. You got Matthew Ashleigh that has sorted that out behind him, along with DJ Cummings down in 4th place. Top 4 breakaway. Looking to see if they can potentially duke it out amongst themselves for the race lead. And you see cars starting to fan out just behind the down the back straightaway, looking for 3. Almost 4. You right on board with the back of William Hale's number 62 entry. There goes McConey looking to the top side, thinking about trying to go for maybe the over-under for the race lead. Get the run of the 4, cut to the bottom side down the front straightaway. He'll have the draft through the tri-oval. Hale leads the first lap back to green.
How about Joe Johnson sitting that 5th position? He'll also have the 66 of Reed Wilson, who led earlier before the caution came up. But here we go. Battle for the race lead. We see McConey now try to power on the outside to get the lead away from William Hale. Of turn 2, give the position to McConey as the caution is out once again. I believe the 42 of Dontre Graves involved, along with one other car I think I saw, the 21 of Connor Mahan.
Jason Keffer, I'm seeing, has a little bit of damage on this 33 entry as well. He might also have a little bit of piece to do with this. Take a look at what happened to the 42 car. First, of course, on the podium replay, there you can see Dontre Graves smoke up in front of him. Oh, and there is Keffer. Just ran over the 33 car, and that's a hard shot to the outside wall, about the worst angle he could possibly hit at. So there was a problem with the 33 that it looks like started all of this off. Oh, yeah, there it is. Jeffrey Keffer, all sorts of out of shape, coming down to the turn 1.
Very interesting situation right here as he just broke loose before even entering the corner. Nolan, do you think of anything that could possibly cause a car to act like that while entering corner entry?
I haven't seen something like that before. The only thing I would think of that comes to mind is downshifting, but obviously you're not downshifting at a track like this. It looks like he just got the air taken off of him, maybe from a car right behind him. It wasn't a bit of a fierce fight with Jesse Vaughn just behind, but that was kind of going steady. I know Justin Mons also got out of shape just behind him. It's a very weird incident. You had about 3 or 4 different cars that shot sideways in a very similar method to Jason Keffer, all in the same, well, it spanned about 1 second, in the same place on the racetrack. And Keffer was just the driver that got caught out the most by it.
Certainly was. He'll have to come down pit road to try to get that repaired. Meanwhile, back up at the front of the field, Jeff McConey was able to get the race lead away from William Hale, and nobody inside the top 5 is coming down pit road. McConey, Hale, and Stallneck, the drivers who've been out there the longest, throw in DJ Cummings, Joe Johnson, Reed Wilson, who have yet to pit here, or who have already pitted earlier on. So we'll see what they can do when we get ready to go back green flag racing. And looking at timing and scoring, Reed Wilson is actually the first car who has pitted out of the top 10. So the top 5 have yet to pit. So interesting call to see what they'll do in these closing stages.
And you saw as well, that was for Martin just taking his lucky dog free pass around the outside line. So it's McConey to lead from William Hale, to lead from the 041 machine. And how about Jeffrey McConey, right? Started down in 7th place. He now leads. He had a bit of a dismal start to his season when we were racing Xfinity cars over at Daytona. Didn't have the best of runs at Las Vegas either in the Cup cars. Looks like he's looking to potentially put something forward, though. Maybe go for a race win at Michigan.
Certainly going to be interesting indeed. Now, of course, tonight's race is a little bit interesting for what we have. We have, of course, a set lap distance of 40 laps. However, due to the fact of certain situations, such as cautions, we have a time limit for the race, which is about 50 minutes, which we already have crossed over just over 15 minutes into this race. So about 45 to 43 minutes are left to go. So Nolan, coming to you on this, drivers have to be careful and mind the time as well as just the laps.
That is, of course, the very important thing to note here. I mean, when you go race laps here, you're easily going to get this race done if it goes green in about 25, maybe 30 minutes or so. But I mean, these laps, they're well over a minute each for every single caution lap. So we're taking about 5 to 10 minutes that we're draining under every caution. It's actually close to 2 minutes probably. So we're talking, yeah, exactly about that, like 5 to 10 minutes for every single caution that we have in this race. And that starts to add up really, really quickly. We're already 2 cautions deep. If we get about 5 or so, or maybe even 4, we have to start to seriously consider the possibility that we'll be finishing this race on a time limit instead of the lap distance.
Certainly is. Now, if we are still within our time limit, we do have green, white checkered attempts if we try to end this race under green flag conditions. But that will not be the case if a caution were to come out and time expires. So drivers have to keep that in mind as the pace car lights are off. That just means one more thing. We are about to go back green flag racing. It'll be 15 laps completed when they come around to take the green flag. And it's going to be very exciting to see if McConey and Hale can hold off the hard chargers of Reed Wilson and Nick Olson, the first cars to have fresh tires.
I want to quickly touch back on the time limits. You mentioned, of course, you have the green, white checkered attempts, Taylor. It wouldn't be the first time, though, we've had to see a race finish under the caution flag. In fact, we saw that earlier just this season, even. At the season opener, that was how Luke Knupp got his first win, and he blazed around the outside of a wreck in order to take the race lead at the buzzer right as the caution flag flew. So you can have some pretty crazy endings to races like these, and clearly having it end on a time limit, even if it's under caution, you still have a pretty shocked race winner up in front.
Certainly, indeed. But now we see Barry, the pace car driver, pull off and head down pit road. The big green egg green flag is out as Barney the flagman gives it a wave. And here they go down across the start-finish line here. Jeff McConey has about a nose advantage over William Hale as they dive it down into turn 1. Hitting speeds of 170 miles an hour in these super late models, carrying speeds of 165 plus through the middle of the corners as they rocket off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway.
Oh, there goes the 041, trying to make the run on William Hale. Hale blocks down to the apron, though, and Matthew Stallneck is going to have to try it again down in the turn number 2. This time, though, he has got the lunge and has the overspeed on William Hale through turns 3 and 4. And how about this for a bit of an interesting situation here, Mr. Taylor Burris? The number 42 entry was just given a black flag for changing lanes prior to the race start. Dontre Graves is going to have to come down pit road.
Big trouble for him, for one of our front row starters, Dontre Graves, who will have to serve that penalty here. But how about back at the front of the field? It is 3 wide almost for that 5th spot, but as the caution comes out, trouble for Presley Sora, one of our strongest competitors. He gets knocked around by the 77.
So Presley Soren now with some significant damage on his front end. I think we might have just caught the start of that incident as the shot pointed off of turn 2. Take a look at this one here. 3 wide coming into turns 1 and 2. Contact with the 77 looking up on the bottom. Daytona winner. And that shot the Presley Soren around in a very weird way up into the outside wall in the 360 spin. The 98 car got tagged, and there was also a bit of another spin further up the road. That was, of course, for one driver just having to avoid it. It was Dylan Nadowny, but there you can see it again. It's a very weird way for a car to spin, but very lucky didn't collect anybody else in that mess.
The Crypto Autosports Chevrolet of Presley Sora. Nolan has had such great runs, but always seems to have a win stolen from him for the past 2 races this season, and he needs to try to get that fast repair completed and possibly get back out there and have a shot to win tonight.
And the good news is, of course, that he doesn't have too much damage on his car. Sora does, so he'll be able to kind of go out there, reset, and try it one more time. And that's always the good thing, right? I mean, every little piece of damage at such an aerodynamic heavy track like Michigan is definitely going to hurt you, but you can always make sure that you can have yourself a bit of time to come on down, get repairs, get yourself kind of settled and relaxed, go back at it again. We're still not halfway through this race on time or on laps. He's going to have the opportunities to make his way up there. He's just got to make sure he keeps those motions in check.
Well, with that, we'll go ahead and have a brief moment to speak to our Fox Sports app in-race reporter, Jeff McConey. And Nolan, I believe you caught up with him a little bit as we pull him up here and have a moment to speak with him.
Indeed, I do. So, Mr. McConey, you joined us up here now in the broadcast booth. And tell you what, it's been an interesting race out there for you. You've been up there in the lead so far. And over the last few restarts, it's been a bit hectic further in the back. Is this good news for you?
Great news for me. Strategy's working out just like we were hoping it would. We got a really good plan going forward. I'm excited for it. I like when I'm out front. I like leading laps, and I did a lot of practice this week preparing for this race. It's double points, some really good stuff going on, so I got a good idea of what I need to do here.
You said you had a good idea of what you need to do. Of course, as we get these further cautions in, the possibility of ending this race on time grows a bit higher. Would that at all change up your strategy?
Nope. We're still, we got the same plan no matter what happens, so I'm excited for it. Lee Overton and Derek Rice do a great job behind the scenes here, making sure we're all taken care of. Jordan Spoon does a great job making this car look good, and I can't ask for anything else. I'm out here in the front leading laps finally after some bad luck the past 2 weeks. Finished 14th, finished 8th, and now up front leading laps like we know we can and should be, so I'm excited.
Well, fingers crossed you'll be able to keep logging the laps away out there in the lead, and hopefully we'll be talking to you in Victory Lane later tonight.
Thank you very much. I hope so as well.
That was our Fox Sports in-app race reporter. The new Fox Sports app has, of course, changed the game for the top moments, breaking news, original content, and live sports. You can find it all in one app. Follow your favorite team or sport with mobile app alerts right on your device. Download the all-new app in the App Store or on Google Play. The Fox Sports app. Get it, use it, and love it.
And we certainly do love it. And as the field comes across here under caution with 1 to go, we are getting ready to give you your iRacing midway race break. And as we cross over into the halfway point of tonight's race, it is time to bring you that. Brought to you by iRacing. iRacing, the world premiere online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsports. Virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in the Australian Supercars, IndyCar, IMSA, NASCAR, the World of Outlaws, and much, much more. Jeff McConey is your race leader, followed by Matt Stallneck in second. William Hale is in third, followed by Reed Wilson in fourth. DJ Cummings sits fifth with Nick Olson in sixth. Joe Johnson is in seventh, with Craig R. Van Nietes is in the eighth position. Thomas Miller is in ninth, with John Theodore rounding out your top 10.
Melvin's looking up, down to 11th place with Brendan Quinn in 12th. Bailey Turner sits in 13th place. Stephen Ellis is in 14th. Anthony Bozzella 15th with George Balfons Jr. in 16th. Trey Patton 17th. DJ Powell in 18th. Justin Mobbs and Jesse Vaughn round out the top 20.
Zachary Mertez sits 21st with Devin Henry 22nd. Christopher Tate sits 23rd with Zach Curtis 24th. 25th is Jason Keffer, followed by Dylan Freeble in 26th. Connor Mann sits 27th with Charlie Brown 28th. In 29th is Dylan Nwandi. In 30th, rounds out is Joshua Abe.
Presley Sora, Connor Mann, Dylan Adwani, and Ford Martin round out the remaining 34-car field as McConey leads them back to the green flag and a heads-up drag race down to turn number 1. Pulls ahead for William Hale by the time they reach the entry.
And with that, this concludes tonight's iRacing midway race break with over 170,000 drivers on the service and over 90 laser scan cars and tracks to choose from, as well as 25% off renewals and 50% off new memberships. iRacing is your portal to the world of racing. Get on track as we have caution here today on the track with iRacing.com.
And it's getting messy out there on the track, of course, Taylor. That was the big one we were a bit more concerned about. You see the 30 car still going backwards. Brendan Quinn got turned midway down the backstretch and backed that thing around through turns 3 and 4. It all started deeper outside the top 10 with John Theodore getting into it with Anthony Bozzella and Brendan Quinn. Watch as one thing leads to another. And you can see as the 27 car slides down to the apron just where this wreck is going.
Chaos ensues here at Michigan International Speedway as Brendan Queen's going to try to finish the lap backwards in that number 30, but a big controversy for him as he was having such a good run in the early stages, but just being caught up in the back half of the field is very costly to be. And there you see as Charlie Brown tries to avoid and does not get that chance. Hard contact.
Hold the brakes. That's what it's a lesson that every iRacer at some point needs to learn. And John Theodore, of course, you have to think could have done a little bit better to avoid coming back up onto the track, but it is what it is. The wreck, of course, has already taken place, and we'll get it reset and try it again. Didn't make it even a full lap that last time by under green. That's by far got to be the shortest green flag run that we've had so far all race long. It's at the point now where you have to wonder just how is this really how the race is going to play out, right? We had 7 laps for the first green flag run, 2 for the second, 2 for the third, about half a lap for this fourth one here. It's not looking pretty for our lap counter up there.
It certainly is not. We just crossed over the halfway point. 23 laps are completed. And looking at the time, not much time left on the clock here as we're looking at just around 20 minutes, if not less, here to go in this race. So these drivers need to try to hurry up. Of course, someone like Jeff McConey is hoping it stays like this so that way he could possibly steal a victory away here tonight as he exits off of pit road and wins that race off of pit road as the rest of the field is also making their way through. Nick Olson, though, in the 24 E-Racers Chevrolet Super Late Model will lead them to the green flag here. Reed Wilson, Thomas Miller, Joe Johnson, and Bailey Turner, your top 5.
And of course, this is a bit of an interesting situation with Jeffrey McConey. You mentioned how he wanted to be up front there, run those laps. That has not been the case under this caution flag. He made the gamble to come down, and I'm not sure if that was necessarily the best call for him because that has put him all the way down in 21st place. 20th on up, stayed out under this caution flag because they've either come on down earlier on in this last caution or caution before that. Same for Joe Johnson, who has not come down at all so far this race. So all of a sudden, McConey's got himself some work to do.
Of course, you are watching the Monday Night Racing Road to Glory series presented by Tefco Flooring. Taylor Burris here along with Nolan Rimple. Our producer tonight is Joshua Lee using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. And right immediately as soon as we speak to our winner, we will head over to the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Rowdy Energy Drink. And of course, Rowdy Energy Drink is the 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champions Kyle Busch and beverage entrepreneur Jeff Kirsch have collaborated to develop Rowdy Energy Drink with a proprietary enhanced energy formula consisting of time-release caffeine, sugar reduction ingredients, amazing taste and hydration levels above leading sports drinks. Rowdy Energy is a cleaner, smarter energy drink. Visit rowdyenergy.com to place your order today. And of course, you will catch Kyle Busch in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Rowdy Energy Drinks here later on. If I remember correctly, did compete with the Super Late Models at this circuit a couple of seasons ago, but it was just an exciting racing action that he was able to do, and looking forward to seeing what he can do tonight, along with all of our heavy hitters in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Rowdy Energy Drink.
And of course, that Pro Series has already had a very successful first few weeks, hasn't it? It's just been absolutely phenomenal to see, guys like that, being out there to be able to race, put on a great show week in, week out. And I'm expecting to see something very, very similar coming in here into tonight's race as we just have to take it back to green.
We are about to take it back to green as we work our way through. As Barry, the pace car driver, will pull down pit road. Barney, the flag man, will have the big green egg, green flag in hand. There you see him as he's about to wave vigorously to turn these drivers loose once again. Green flag is out, and we're back underway. Nick Olsen with an incredible jump on the field. Thomas Miller will move up into second place with Reed Wilson caught napping there on that restart.
Caught napping is a bit of an understatement. Already clear by 5 car lengths up to Nick Olsen. They go side by side for third. Turner and Reed Wilson trying to do battle. Wilson trying to find the bottom side of Thomas Miller. No room though. Bailey Turner still has the nose, just barely there, trying to clear himself, forcing Turner down the racetrack. And Bailey Turner has to go evasive in the 25 entry all the way down to the yellow line through 3 and 4. Wilson trying to hold the line from the outside line. And it's going to be Thomas Miller to go down and give the helping hand right down there to Bailey Turner, but not before Reed Wilson gets clear.
Bailey Turner, of course, your race winner at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway with the Gen 6 cars as they work their way through turns 1 and 2. And as we watch on the battle for second, Thomas Miller in the 13 trying to hold off the 66 of Reed Wilson along with Bailey Turner. Nick Olsen has a 0.2 of a second lead over these 3 competitors you see battling on screen. So we are about to have a 4-car battle for the race lead as the draft starts to come into play. Out of turn number 4, Olsen has the advantage by a 1/10 as they work down the front straightaway here. You're on board with the Clickerman Esports driver as he comes across the line here. It is going to be just about less than 15 to go.
And the battles get set to heat on up everywhere you look throughout this field, pushing up a bit, tight for second place. Thomas Miller having to scramble to the outside line. The DMK Motorsports number 13. You got Reed Wilson still looking to fight that inside line. Heads up, Bailey Turner still eager to try to find a way through around the outside line. Bailey Turner's in a bit of an interesting situation here. Has 2 different lines to work with, but they're being blocked up by both drivers that are battling just up in front of him. They're slowly reeling in Nick Olsen for the race lead as well. So Nick Olsen going to be under fire here in just a few moments.
Your biggest race mover of the race is Joe Johnson. Started in 24th, is now running in 5th. Our race pole sitter, Presley Sora, has now moved up to the 13th position as you're on board with Reed Wilson just trying to hold off the 13 of Thomas Miller. Miller pinching him down through the corners to try to maintain second as he'll get a bump from the 25 of Bailey Turner. Olsen sees it. He's going to throw the block, but here comes Wilson diving to the inside.
It's always a risky thing trying to go for a bump trap to the super late models. It's a very curved front end. It has a tendency to kind of pick up the back bumper if you hit it too hard, especially since the back bumper is lifted a bit further up the ground than the diffuser you commonly see in the Cup cars, especially the next gen cars nowadays, which I believe will be seen in play later on this season. So you got to be careful with those bump traps. Reed Wilson, though, not concerned about it for a moment. Slides the inside, pushing up the track, trying to force Nick Olsen up towards the outside wall. Comes back down to cover, spinning out behind them, and it's going to be a big pile up there, 3 wide for the lead, and that's a 5, 6, 7 car pile up out of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Joe Johnson's right in the thick of it.
Turn 2 is Calamity Corner once again for several major drivers, include our biggest mover, Joe Johnson, who was running so well, but unfortunately will have to come down to get required service on that number 13 Toyota. Let's take a look at the replay here as we watch. Looks like either contact was made between Joe Johnson and George Balfons Jr. And then as we see, calamity ensues. Multiple cars collected in this one here, Nolan.
It's unfortunate Joe Johnson was spinning that all by himself. Everybody else got involved with this trying to avoid. It was a huge checkup out of turn number 2, and it was contact with Balfons that sent him around. And all of the calamity you saw further in behind, it all kicked off with the field starting to check up. The first piece of actual contact that was made as everybody stacked up was actually between a combination of Joshua Abe, the 041 of Matthew Stallneck, as well as Christopher Tate and the 54 machine. They got kind of compressed. The 43 got involved with that one. The 5 was there. Yet everybody basically behind 21st place caught up in that.
10 laps to go here in this race when they come across the line, but we're right around less than 10 minutes left to go in this race here. Nolan, I'm pretty sure tensions are running high, pressure is building. We're about to see this thing go through the roof here momentarily when we see who comes down pit road. And I see George Balfons Jr. and a few others deciding to choose to come down pit road.
I think it's unsurprising to see a lot of the guys like Balfons Jr. and even guys like the 81 coming on down pit road that were involved with that. I know Tate's coming down to pit road, Abe is in, William Hale is in. Yeah, kind of full of other drivers in the mix of things that are going to be kind of coming down to the field as well. You got Powell that's in pit road. Unsurprisingly, you can see your former guy that was sitting up near the front of this race, Dontre Graves on the front row. He is down to pit road now. Luke Knupp is in pit road as well. Got a big group of guys, and almost every one of them has damage from that wreck.
They certainly do, as they were going to try to utilize either their fast repair, or if they've already used their fast repair, try to get the damage repaired, because there's still points on the line to try and get out there and do, because we are having a playoff that will happen later this season.
So that means that these wins, of course, are oh so crucial to be able to kind of pick yourself up from. You need to make sure that you utilize every single race lap. So Nick Olson leads the way now from Reed Wilson, from Thomas Miller, from Bailey Turner, from Stephen Ellis to round out your top five. And that big one, sort of good news for Jeffrey McConey, as he now finds himself a little bit further up the field. He is now up to 13th place. Still has a bit of work to go up in front of him. Problem is, he is a lot closer now to the guys in the top 10, which is where this latest big one got kicked off from.
Certainly is. And of course, this is the third round of the season. We have so much more ahead. Of course, next week we head back to Daytona on the road course with the MX-5 Cup cars, and then we get down and dirty at Knoxville with the trucks. Later on, we'll head to, at the start of December, the Phoenix Raceway with the next-gen cars, and then we come back to Michigan, kicking it back in the 80s with the 1987 Cup cars, and then we round out the regular season at Chicagoland with the NASCAR Xfinity cars before we have our special All-Star edition and then kick off the playoffs. But tonight is a very important night, Nolan. It's double points. So that means double the points are on the line for all the positions that you see out here, which could be very huge for these drivers who may not be up towards the front of the field on a normal basis so far early in the season. But if they're able to get a good finish here tonight, that will help propel them up through the playoff championship run.
It's such an interesting race to have as a double points race, isn't it? Because it is a bit of a toss-up at the moment with who can potentially get those double points, which can be oh so crucial, especially, as you mentioned, for the guys that aren't going to be getting that race win here tonight, especially for everybody, though. I'd be saying starting from second on back to about the 5th place. Those are the guys that are going to benefit the most out of this double points that they got going here on this third race of the season. But you have a lot of different races coming up as well. Of course, you got a road course race with road course cars coming up in just 1 week's time. 2 weeks from there, it's time to go dirt track. If any one of those races were double points, it'd be even more of a toss-up. Obviously, road courses are unpredictable in their own right. Dirt, well, we know how dirt usually goes. But the fact that they have this double points race for this insane race we've already seen developing throughout the course of the night, it could mean that these tensions could potentially boil over with under 10 to go.
It certainly will be, as we are going to be coming to the line with 7 laps to go in tonight's race. Nick Olson, Reed Wilson will lead them to the big green egg, green flag. They're already beating and banging as trouble is already happening on the start of the race, as we will see the exhaustion probably happen here, as there it is, and calamity on the front stretch. Somebody missed a ship, because that was definitely some major issues. One car on its lid, that's the 20, I believe, that's stuck out there on the racetrack. The 20 of Dylan Freeble, as more cars are trying to pull themselves away from the chaos.
It all looks, I don't think it was misshift at all, Taylor. I'm looking back at this now. Watch Taylor Burr's third car line. It looks like he got a bit of a push almost from Zachary Mertes. Might have been Ellis into Thomas Miller. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like Stephen Ellis tried to predict the start. It went all wrong. That, of course, caused the cornering effect. You saw the huge mess that ended up, see one of those cars, the 20 it was, go upside down. It's unfortunate as well. You got Jeffrey McConey as well caught up in that mess. A lot of cars got airborne. That has got to be one of the biggest pileups I've ever seen on a race start in my life here in the world of iRacing here. And You see the 33 car getting collected and involved in that as well. A lot of the damage wasn't for cars getting spun around, right? It really came from everybody kind of running back and forth into each other there. It's about as messy of a restart as it could possibly get.
Let's ride on board with Dylan Freeble in that 20 and see how he ended up on his lid. The R3 car is definitely not happy about this one as more cars are trying to come down pit road. There you see he'll get up and over. McConey collected up in it. He'll be on his side, and then there he goes on his lid.
I'm looking back to see if anybody avoided this, and the first car I'm seeing, Taylor, that actually got through this was actually Ray Richer. And to put into perspective how far back he was 23rd when that green flag dropped and all this kicked off. Everybody else in front of him, besides the race leaders, were collected in some way, shape, or form in that incident. That is absolutely insane. He's taking a look at the back of the 46 machine at the moment of Stephen Ellis.
I want to take a look at that restart one more time from Stephen Ellis because Nick Olson looked like he tried to go, decided not to, as we get a good angle right here. Because you'll see the 13 of Thomas Miller. He'll start going, and then he has to stop because of Olson in front of him. Watch here. And then there's the contact. Around goes Miller. Around goes the 66 of Reed Wilson. And there the chaos ensues behind Stephen Ellis.
I'm at a loss for words. I really am. That restart has just left me speechless. I think it's impressive that we still have so many cars running up here at the front of this thing, in this race, but so many of them have damage. Even the guy down in second place, Stephen Ellis, has got major damage because he, of course, ran over the guy in front of him in the midst of that restart. So I think we'll have about 4 laps to go when we go green. That may as well be a green-white checker the way this race has gone.
Most definitely this will be a green-white checkered, as it looks like Zachary Mertez will receive the penalty for that as he was black flag. As we see Charlie Brown behind the field in the Papagino's shirt. Still waiting to see if we can get a Woodstock or a Snoopy Dog on his car. That will be amazing from the Woodstock, Connecticut native.
It's insane how this race developed. We talk about how this race will do. It could be crazy, right? And I think that just proves the point right there, just how insane of a race you could possibly have here at Michigan.
Well, we have so many more upcoming exciting races here, as we will see what's going to be happening later on at the end of tonight's broadcast. But as the field is paced up behind the pace car, we're about to go double file, and this could be, like you pointed out, a double green-white checkered here. So one attempt, right, with the looks of it, as the time continues to collapse down here. But don't worry. After tonight, with both the Road to Glory Series and the Pro Series, it's the eNASCAR Contender iRacing Series as they get ready for their action tomorrow night. A lot of exciting things happening there.
A lot of things going to be happening over in that Contender Series, of course. Obviously, a series that you never quite want to miss, so definitely stick around. And even for the Pro Series as well, you got, I believe, a new broadcast talent lineup coming on up to this race, for this race only. It should be an incredible broadcast coming up in just a few moments after the conclusion here at Road to Glory.
NASCAR Hall of Famer Darrell Waltrip, and of course, all-around famous pit crew chief of none other than Gil Martin joining the Pro Series broadcast. Make sure to stay on tonight with Podium Esports for all Monday Night Racing, where everything is amazing for Monday Night Racing here as we about to come to conclusion of the Road to Glory. Pace car field is off the course, and now the big green egg green flag is out. A much cleaner restart. Nick Olson is able to get away. Steven Ellis was brought down.
Big wreck on the start. Looks like almost intentional. You talk about Matt Kenseth missing the restart at Talladega back in 2015 to kind of kick off a championship ensuing moments. Well, how about this one? Missing the start altogether. It was Brendan Queen that might have missed a shift, and we're back under caution.
Big issues right here at the replay. Major shift, multiple collected in it. Let's watch here from Anthony Bazzella's angle as he tries to, looks like gets a beautiful jump, gets hit from the rear a little bit from the 66 of Reed Wilson, but has nowhere to go as Brendan Queen comes right across the track.
how else would you put that? I mean, it almost looked to me like Brandon Quinn's car just shut off or missed a shift and was just pinging off the rev limiter. We'll take a look at from Quinn now. Starts to go and then also just doesn't. You see fire pop out of the exhaust, and then that indicates off throttle, of course. That sends 4 cars hard into that pit wall at a terrible angle for so many of them. No doubt ripping apart suspensions everywhere.
Yeah, let's take a look at the listening here of this car as we ride on board with Brendan Queen. Looking at also his telemetry, his car just completely almost just stops to a stop right here, and then more contact from multiple other drivers. And looking at the time, it's going to be probably ending under caution by how things are.
This is definitely going to be a green-white checkered if this goes back green. I think we have about 5 minutes left, if that we're going to have to get this race tapped up here. The problem is they're not going to be 2 or even 1 to green yet. That could be the race-ending moment. And tell you what, that would be probably about the worst way it could end a race. And I have a feeling everybody here is hoping that this thing goes back to green.
Well, the pace car field has turned off the lights. We are going 1 lap to green here. So this will be the first attempt and only attempt of a green-white checkered.
And of course, another caution at this point would end the race. You'll have, of course, it'll try to reset for a second green-white checkered attempt, won't it? But it's not going to matter because it's going to end under the caution flag anyway. This is what we saw happen at Daytona in the season opener. It's what's going to be happening, of course, today as well if we get another yellow flag. Again, everybody here is hoping you can get those 2 laps in. You just need to get those 2, and you'll be good to go.
Just need those 2, and you're good to go here as the field works down the back straightaway here. What does Nick Olsen need to do to try and steal this win away?
At this point, you need to just go. I mean, you cannot afford to wait around. Nick Olsen got such a great launch when we went green a couple of restarts ago. If he can mimic that on this final restart here, he'll almost certainly have a race win, especially since the car was outside. Steven Ellis has some major damage on the front end.
As the field works down out of turn 3 and 4, the pace car will head down out of harm's way down pit road. It is a 1 attempt of a green-white checkered here. Barney the flagman has the big green flag in hand. Olsen leads them to the line, and he shoots out of a cannon and pulls away. Green flag is out for our one and only green-white checkered attempt. Steven Ellis dropped down to the bottom of the racetrack here as John Theodore in the 27. He's now back into the mix as he'll work on the top side.
You see everybody trying to get themselves sorted out, trying to duck past drivers that have major damage that's hindering everybody out throughout this field, everywhere from 5th on back. A huge block the inside for Steven Ellis to try to keep Zachary Mertez at bay. John Theodore pulls clear from the outside line. Treble car spinning behind him and into the inside wall. McConey's around, so is Arvanitis, but it's not going to matter. No caution being thrown. Nick Olsen gets set to rocket away. Can they make it to the white flag? They just need to make about another 100 feet or so to get back to the line. They are going to make it. White flag is out. This ends under green.
Your McConey setup shop, white flag, and Nick Olsen will lead it. He works his way down into turns 1 and 2. Here comes John Theodore. He'll try to dive it to the bottom of the racetrack. He gets the door shut in his face by Olsen. Off of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. It is a 2-horse race. McConey is trying, or actually one and only John Theodore, trying to work the outside, side by side with Olsen as they work into 3 and 4. For the final time, Nick Olsen is going to try and pull away a victory upset, but John Theodore has something to say about them. Out of turn number 4 for the final time, and working down, they'll try to go below the white line, but Olsen shuts the door on his face and wins at Michigan.
What a finish that was! John Theodore, talk about getting slapped across the face, not once but twice, as he slams the inside wall past start finish and flips up on his side. Nick Olsen takes race victory though. Talk about shutting off a run. That was the biggest shutdown I think I've ever seen on a run on any kind of track where draft actually matters like this one.
Well, it's safe to say as we take a look at the replay here, like you said, I've never seen someone had the door shut on them so hard in any motor race than what we just saw here tonight. Here comes Theodore, and boom, right there, around in the grass he will go, and Theodore will come home second. But what a interesting drive for none other than Nick Olsen. That is definitely a Tough Go Flooring winning moment here today. as he will celebrate his victory.
Unbelievable.
What a drive for Nick Olson from Waxhaw, North Carolina for Kligerman Sport. He is the public relations representative for none other than Robbie Lyons, your Monday Night Racing Season 3 Pro Series champion and Grit Motorsports marketing representative. We're going to speak to him momentarily on this amazing victory. But here is your finishing results. Nick Olson will be your winner, followed by John Theodore in second. Reed Wilson will come home third, followed by Matt Stolnick in fourth. Then it's Stephen Ellis in fifth. Presley Sora will come home and finish in sixth position, followed by Justin Mons in seventh. Dontre Graves will recover to eighth, Charlie Brown ninth, and rookie Ray Richard will come home in 10th.
That leaves George Valfons Jr., the first driver outside of the top 10, down 11th place. And of course, it is Christopher Tate down in 12th. Jesse Vaughn finishes it off in 13th place. Bailey Turner, your Las Vegas winner, is in 14th place. Joshua Abe down in 15th place. DJ Powell is 16th with Joe Johnson at 17th. Anthony Mazzella is in 18th with Dylan Freebull in 19th. And Connor Mann is down at 20th.
Thomas Miller will come home in 21st, followed by Jason Keffer in 22nd. Craig Arvanites will come home in 23rd, followed by Trey Patton in 24th. Jeff McConey will come home 25th with Dylan Nwandi in 26th. William Hale comes home 27th. Zach Curtis in 28th. DJ Cummings will come home in 29th. Zachary Mertez rounds out your top 30.
And of course, that just leaves guys that failed to finish this race. Brendan Quaid is the first of those, with Devin Henry, down in 32nd place. Luke Knupp is in 33rd, with Ford Martin being the first of our retirements, down in the 34th place. It's around the 34 car field.
And with that, we will now speak to our race winner, Nick Olson. Nick, I gotta say, as we get Nick ready, we gotta talk about this finish here. A lot of people not happy about this, but what do we think, Nolan, we could see happen as we go to a more exciting racetrack, of course, than Daytona Road Course with the MX-5, which we know is exciting racing?
The MX-5 has got to be one of the most thrilling road cars you could possibly watch. Yes, it is one of the slowest on the service, but it is so good at a track like the Daytona Road Course. We are in for a great show for a 15-minute race potentially over at Daytona in 1 week's time.
It certainly is. And now we get to speak to our race winner, Nick Olson. Nick, gotta say, we've never seen anything pulled off like what you just did here tonight. How does it feel to take home the victory here?
Well, it's not every day you look in your mirror and nobody's there, So that was a crazy restart there, but I felt like we had a really good e-racer car today. Obviously, it's a fixed setup, but I felt like we handled the strategy well. Everything was working out well, and obviously the circumstances just played to our hand, given the nature of this race, the draft, and everything that comes into play. It's just really awesome to get a win here and lock ourselves in the playoffs and double points as well. So that was a big race for us today as well.
Explain to our listeners here and viewers here tonight the difficulty of running this track and car combination.
Oh man, well, where to begin? I didn't take tires the entire race because of the uncertainty on fresh tires. That first lap, which I think contributed to a lot of wrecks tonight, there's a lot of uncertainty and uneasiness in the car on the first couple laps, which it's like you're driving on ice. Outside of that, it's really like a lower banked Daytona where you got to lift a little bit and work the lanes and work the draft to where nobody's able to get to you, and we were able to do that to a certain extent. We got a little lucky with the timing of some cautions right when people were getting to us. Reed Wilson was really strong tonight. Bummer he didn't get the run he deserved. We were working well all day, and a lot of guys and then John, we were just talking John Theodore about how many different lanes there are that you can run here and how they could benefit you. So really a crazy event tonight.
It certainly was. We look forward to seeing you at the next round at Daytona with the MX-5s next Monday night.
Well, thank you guys, and I just want to thank everybody at eRacer, Kligerman Sport, Grit Motorsports Marketing, all the guys that make it happen. We're really thrilled to to get this one. Last week was so close, but yet so far. But we got it done tonight, and we're wishing. I'm wishing Robbie and all the other Kligerman Sport guys luck here in the next hour.
That is Nick Olson, your winner here tonight at Michigan. Nolan, want to come to you for final thoughts about tonight, as well as what we could expect next week, Monday night, with the MX-5s at Daytona.
Of course, road course race, I think, is definitely where I'm a bit more versed in, but I have to say, from what I've seen from those Mazda MX-5s, oh my goodness, they can provide some thrilling action. And I have a feeling at Daytona, it is going to be one of the best races you could possibly get on a road course race. But you have the long drafting run from NASCAR 1 all the way down to that bus stop chicane on the back straightaway, then all the way back out again to turn 1. We saw it even, of course, earlier on just this year when IMSA went there for their season opener in one of their support races. Bump drafting, 2-car, 3-car, 4-car, tandeming even for those Miatas down those straightaways. And you, of course, have it all together on iRacing, where drivers are not afraid to test the limits of what is possible on a racetrack. Oh boy, I have a feeling we are in for a great show.
If you want a preview of what we're going to expect next Monday night with the MX-5s at Daytona, go and watch that season opener with the IMSA WeatherTech Series with their MX-5 Cup Series at Daytona. But November 22nd, starting at 7 p.m. on twitch.tv/Podium Esports, we will be back with the Mazda MX-5s at the World Center of Racing at Daytona. But with that, for Ford Martin and Paul Sutton at Monday Night Racing, Joshua Mendoza in Race Control, and of course, for Ryan Bauer, James Pike, Cisco Scarmuza, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore at Podium Esports. For tonight's team, our producer Joshua Lee, cameras provided by Dougie Beard, Cameron Aubernon on social media, and for my colleague in the booth, Nolan Rempel, I'm Taylor Burris, and thank you so much for tuning in for round number 3 of Monday Night Racing Road to Glory Series presented by Tough Go Flooring. Nick Olson is the Ashleigh Kirsch Mortgage 90 winner here at Michigan. Now it's time to head on over to twitch.tv/Podium2 for the coverage of Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Rowdy Energy Drinks with Darrell Waltrip and Gil Martin and James Pike.